This is the good part. See, this is why I love gray so much. That pink and that gray together, oh, gray just makes everything look so good. It's so versatile. Oh. Save that for later. Of course, the next artist that comes in for the artist residency will be coming into a whole new Galt house, which is interesting. I mean, I'm here at a period of transition where floors are getting ripped up, people are jackhammering, wallpaper's been put down, and I love it. I love being here during this period of transformation, and it's really interesting. I mean, the kind of work I do, you have to enjoy the process. So anytime I have an opportunity to see something else, a process being exhibited where something's changing from something to something else, that's always interesting to witness.
You have a lot of inspiration from the old Galt house up on the wall here.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sad to see some of these things go, or is you getting new inspiration from?
Well,
some
you know,
of the
it's
new
funny.
things?
A friend of mine was saying, "Oh, I can't believe they got rid of the D. Marie," and because a lot of people do have strong feelings about some of the things, you know, the restaurants here, and but yeah, the pictures on the wall, those are just things that struck me, and I wanted to create a kind of a portfolio or representation of the Galt house as it was when I got here, just so that it could be around and it could feed into the work somehow, sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtle. But you know, all these the carpets and the wallpapers, all those things, they kind of all work together to give the Galt house its identity.
Get a little closer so I can. It's very meditative to watch you paint in these very, very straight lines.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're going into some sort of trance when you've done this for quite a few hours?
Yes, I definitely do. There are many times where I'll get started in the morning and then it'll be lunchtime already. I have to set an alarm on my phone to take breaks because there's been numerous times where I've just worked too long and then my arm starts to suffer for it. So breaks are good. You don't want to burn yourself out. But it is meditative. It's meditative and it's calming, but it's thrilling at the same time, because every time I lay down a new color, it completely changes. Because they bounce off each other. There's a frequency, a rhythm gets established. And the easiest way for me to explain it to people is that I think of all these bands of colors as sort of like musical notes, and so depending on the width or the the value. They each have a different frequency, and they can each work with neighboring bands differently. And so I only have a glimpse of it right now, but once I get it completely covered, then it really starts to resonate, and it picks up speed then.
Is there anything, this maybe is a tough question to answer right now, but what, if anything, would you like to see change about the program, or that you hope for in the future for the next artist in residence?
Yeah. Well, one thing I think would be interesting for future applicants is to have an incentive that, were you to get the artist in residence, some sort of partnership with other hotels outside of Louisville, because I think one of the most important things for a Louisville artist is to have their work seen outside of Louisville. Louisville is supportive of the arts, but I think it's important to have your work be seen by other people that aren't familiar with you, and it's just great all the way around for an artist to get that kind of exposure. So one suggestion I've made is, if there's opportunity to do some sort of exchange artist program with another Wyndham hotel, which I think would be a great opportunity. And I don't know what that would look like. Maybe the artist could go to that other hotel for 2 weeks or 3 weeks and just live there for a bit and create one piece, or what a number of pieces inspired or informed by their time there. So that's one thing I've been thinking about.
I think that would be a great idea. Do you think that this program has given you exposure to direct buyers or to other parties interested in either purchasing or commissioning, or what have you?
Certainly. And it's interesting, the different types of people that come in and show interest. I had one person come in who, I think he was from Texas, and he has a company where they are making vegan chocolate bars, and he was talking to me about if I would be interested in designing something for his the wrapping of his chocolate bar that he's hoping to make a national push in the next 6 months or so. And so that was interesting. I never would have even thought about that. But yes, it's been great. I've received contact from numerous people from outside of town, and it's provided opportunity, and that has all been wonderful.
That is an interesting proposal.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. Like, package design is a big thing for a lot of artists looking for, a way to monetize their skill set.
Yeah.
And I do think that business people and people who develop products are looking more and more towards the fine arts to get that edge in their storytelling, rather than career marketers. So that's an interesting shift in that industry for sure.
Yeah. Well, you want to be specialized so you stand out from your competitors, right? And so whatever you can do to establish that, I think, is to your benefit. Yeah.
Have you had a lot of other artists stop by and sort of pick your brain about how you work? And
I've had a few. Yeah. I would love to have more, but the few that I've had come by, they haven't been visual artists. I had a videographer come by, and I had a, who else came by? A fashion stylist. And so that was interesting for them to come in and see my work and see the program, and then for us to talk about how they would function in this sort of environment. Then it's just interesting to hear how they would approach it and their thoughts on doing a program like this.
in terms of time commitment, I know you're very dedicated and you show up every weekday pretty much, right? For most of the working hours?
Most weekdays, I'm here from 9:15 till about 3. Mm-hmm. Unless I have something else going on. I have a couple other projects that are requiring me to not be here regularly, but I'm here pretty much during the week. Mm-hmm.
How has that time commitment worked out, like in terms of work-life balance, let's say? It's
been pretty good. Well, my kids go to Lincoln Elementary, great elementary school, and that's just right down the street, so I'm able to drop them off and pick them up. Mm-hmm. And so it works out well in that regard. But it hasn't been too much of a adjustment, I would say.
Okay.
It's been pretty seamless.
I want to ask you some questions about how organized you are.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at this towel, and you've even wiped the paint off your brushes like in a pattern on the towel, which...
Well, let me show you this one. This is, my sister was married in Cabo in 2006, and this is an old towel that we had. And so I hate the idea of wasting anything, and I have to clean my brushes. And so a couple years ago I started, when I would clean my brushes, I would do it in some sort of pattern. So I have a ton of paint towels that are in different patterns, and they're all a record of the paintings. But it's interesting to me because it's really loose, and it's more it's a different sort of expression than what I'm doing on the surface. And so it's a nice contrast.
Every tool used in this process becomes its own work of art sometimes. I don't know, whoever didn't, I was just going to say.
Yeah, like
who wasn't here last time, because we've talked about these before. But
my stir sticks, and so I let them, when I stir the paint, I use old brushes, and then I get layers on there, and then I'll carve them away, and you can see the different layerings. And so then they would drip on my garbage can, which is over here, which you probably can't see that well, but it's completely covered.
But also, there's order in the chaos there still. It's not all over the place. And even the tape on the wall, you've done in straight lines, presumably to reuse the pieces of tape.
That's right. Until they end up on my tape ball over there.
Right, exactly. Which is of itself on display here as like a work of art, and it reminds me of Pee-wee's Playhouse.
I'm sure if you were to analyze all this, it would give you some sort of insight into my psyche, but I'm not going to go there yet.
I mean, clearly we're dealing with some kind of OCD, but I'm not going to diagnose. But
not going to go there.
There is advantage to that as well. I mean, there is like people see that and it's satisfying for them to look at. It's orderly. I mean, they want to be more like that.
Interesting.
So I feel like most people. So if you find things online, for instance, that go viral that are just somebody organizing something, or you see before and after pictures, you just look at it and you're like,
inspires.
it's somehow it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like Marie Kondo, just like her career has taken off.
Right, right.
You know what I mean? So I think there is something people admire about that level of carefulness.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know,
Yeah.
it's interesting how many people will walk by the studio and they'll just stand there and watch me paint. Mm-hmm. And they'll comment how just watching me paint has relaxed them. Mm-hmm. Because I'm kind of slow and it takes me a while to get it done.
Yeah.
But I think that process is calming.
Yeah. Well, like I said earlier, the meditative
That's
process.
Right. That's right.
And when I said that, I put some like cool shapes on the screen. So I'm gonna do that again. Oh, look! It's all floating everywhere. The painting trance. It is. I think that's why Bob Ross had such a career.
Yeah.
And his happy little clouds. You know.
That's right.
He would talk in that voice.
You know, a friend of mine
very slowly.
has all of his television shows on DVD, and he watches them before he goes to bed. And sometimes he'll just listen to them because it's so it gets him right in the head.
And I noticed you do that as well. I don't know if you notice your voice changing when you're painting.
Yeah. Oh, does it?
Yeah, it goes softer and really quiet.
Yeah.
You're making the line now. And it does feel like I'm about to, go take a nap in the corner.
Wow, okay.
In a nice way.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
in like
yeah.
a boring, but in like a...
Well, you have to slow down, and your whole body's part of that, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, my breaths become shorter.
Yeah.
And my whole body slows down.
It makes sense. Is it difficult too to talk while you're making that edge of the line?
Yeah. Well, I would say that it's easier for me to talk right now.
Yeah. Clearly.
But I have notebooks all over the place because when I'm working, I'm usually, it could be quiet or I'm listening to music, but I'm always thinking about the work and thinking about future work, so I'm writing down ideas all the time. And so when you have that quiet time with your thoughts, it's amazing what can be born out of that.
Yeah.
And luckily, I enjoy the pleasure of my own company, as my grandmother would say. She was the same way. And so, yeah.
Great. We'll just give a little... I feel like there's a reverence that has entered the room, so we'll just let that happen for a second.
A reverence?
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know, like... you said you enjoy your own company, and we're talking about meditation. It just feels kind of dirty to fill the room with noise right now.
It's funny. I did a meditative professional development once when I was teaching, and we went to this place and we all sat in a room, and this man was going to lead us on this group meditation, and he talked throughout the whole session. And it was interesting how we were all there to try to get centered and have this experience. And I guess it was just his way of teaching that he needed to instruct us verbally and fill every quiet moment with speech. And so it didn't allow anyone to really get where they needed to be. But.
So we're going to be live for about 10 more minutes. So if anyone wants to ask Gibbs a question or give him a message, now's the time. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something like that. So yeah, think of a question or a comment. So Gibbs, what's the plan after the Artist in Residence program ends? Do you have a next project coming up?
I have some public projects that I'm ironing out the details for, and then I have a show to get ready for, which I'm looking forward to just diving into that. And that's about it for right now. There's always irons in the fire all over the place, but I try not, I'm trying to keep my head here as much as possible and not overextend myself while I'm in the residency here. But I'm looking forward to seeing how, you know, this will have an impact on my work, and it's interesting to see what'll come out of that.
Will you have a say in the selection of the next artist in residence?
I will be on the committee, so
Okay.
I will be taking a look at applications and that sort of thing.
Okay, cool.
I hope it's okay that I can say that. I guess it is.
I think it's fine. Yeah. I think
It's out there now.
It's out there now. Yeah. I think it's expected that would be the case for each subsequent artist in residence.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So.
Do you ever collaborate with other artists too?
I do. I haven't collaborated very much, but I have, and I enjoy collaborating, and I would like to do more of that.
I think it would be cool to match you up with like a lighting design artist who can
I've only
make your things move, you know.
Yes,
That would be awesome.
it's interesting. A dancer made that same recommendation to me, a friend of mine.
There you go.
And I've only collaborated with visual, like painters and that sort of thing. And so I'd be very interested in collaborating with artists outside of my field, and that could be anybody.
Yeah. Your designs have this trippy quality we've talked about before that sort of suck you in, like there's a vortex in the middle, but in a pleasant way. You know, like they feel like they're moving if you don't blink, you know, if you stare right into the center of them. But you can really accentuate that effect with just some lights. A really clever lighting designer can make it look like it's moving, you know? So that would be a really interesting installation for sure.
I had someone mention getting into fashion as well, putting stuff on dresses, what have you.
Yeah, I actually saw someone commenting on some social posts that the Galt put up about printing it.
Yeah.
On wearables of some kind. That could be cool.
Oh yeah, I would be very interested in that.
Yeah, so those of you who are watching or who watch this later, we are recording the whole thing. So there was an interruption in the Wi-Fi earlier. It just cut off, so we got it back.
Oh, good.
But we recorded the whole thing and we'll put up highlights. I think it's totally cool to put some recommendations out there for, you know, collaborations or what you would like to see Gibbs designs on. If for no other reason, just out of curiosity, what other people come up with, you know, the hive mind.
Oh yeah, I've really gotten in touch with the hive mind through social media for sure.
Okay, I think we're gonna go for five more minutes, if that's all right. And then, so 5 more minutes, everybody who is watching to chime in. If not, well, we've got a great recorded video we can cut down. You can chime in later. You know, I do think, even though it's awkward to be in the same room with people watching you and not say anything, I do think there is value in just putting Gibbs on live and have him painting and nobody says a word. And just do it for like 3 hours.
Well, so when I taught, I did a lot of demos for my classes, showing them how to paint or do whatever.
Yeah.
And a lot of my students would tell me, you got to get your own YouTube channel. I would totally watch that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't watch things on YouTube. You know, you laugh when I say that, but you know, the YouTube Red, like that's a whole, I sound old saying this, but you know, that's like a TV thing, and it's not my wheelhouse, but
yeah. There's people on Twitch.
Well, I don't even know what that is.
See, now you got to get with the times.
What's Twitch?
It's a live platform where you just watch people do things for hours. And a lot of it's gamers playing games.
Okay.
But there are also people who just paint for like 6 hours and they stream the whole thing live.
Well, that would be right up my alley.
People chat with them. They just like ask questions or send support or make jokes or whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Twitch.
Yeah. Just go live for like hours. You just turn the camera on and it doesn't matter if you have anything interesting to say.
You could be vacuuming the house, whatever.
Whatever you want. Yeah.
Gosh.
It's crazy the world we live in, huh?
It is. That's one word for it.
Yeah. So I think it's time to say goodbye. Goodbye, farewell, like the beat is like. So, but we want to know, when can they come visit? When's a good time to come visit the studio, Gibbs, on your?
Any time during the week is fine. 9 to 3.
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday.
Okay.
I'm usually here, so yeah.
9 to 3, Monday through Friday. You can follow Gibbs at Gibbs Rounsavall on Instagram. And if you're curious how to spell it, go ahead.
ROUNSAV as in Victor, ALL.
Okay, we're putting that in a comment as well on the Instagram Live. So Oh, Americana Louisville wants to be in our live video. Let's do it. All right, that's a great way. So what else, how else can they connect? They can connect through the Artist in Residence group, which is hosted by Galt House Hotel's Facebook page. And all you have to do is ask to join. You will be presented with a couple of questions, one of which is, are you an artist? It's not important if you are or not. We just want to make sure you're not a bot. So, and it's also interesting to see how many artists actually join and follow the program. And we post exclusive things there that either give insight into sort of behind the scenes what's going on with Gibbs or whoever happens to be the artist in residence, but also updates on application process. And that doesn't get posted across all of the Galt House platforms. That's something exclusive to the group. So if you are an artist who's interested in applying and wants to know more, that's a really cool way to connect and get personal. And personally connected with either Gibbs or someone from the Galt who can answer your questions. You can also follow the Galt House Hotel on Instagram, which if you are watching on Insta, you probably already do. We're also streaming live on YouTube, and occasionally we stream live on Facebook as well. So there's a lot of different ways to get in touch and ask questions. And ask a lot of questions, because the more information you have, the better prepared you'll be. Yeah. To apply, for sure. And as Gibbs said, it's a really thorough application. So, you know, I think everybody expects people to have questions, and we try to be as transparent as possible with all of those questions. So, yeah, connect with us and come see Gibbs in person.
Yes, please.
He's a nice dude.
Feel free to come and ask me any questions if you have any questions.
Sure. He's a nice guy. Or you could just sit and watch him paint and go into a trance.
There you go.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. We're ending this live feed on Instagram, and it will end on YouTube shortly. We'll be editing it down to a highlights video and reposting that, so so people who missed it today can still participate. Cool. Say bye.
Bye. Feel like a child.
Yeah.